welcome to the Vida Spiritual Connection. I am Reverend Keven Kadel. Have you ever heard this phrase, you have to give to get? If you're anything like me, I got some challenges with it. It's a kind of a simplification, and sometimes simplification opens to deeper inquiry. However, this one kind of ties my mind in knots. Affluence, prosperity, plenitude, and the subject of today's message, generosity, there are certain spiritual nuances and subtleties, and a context is required. An oversimplification, like you have to give to get, kind of robs generosity of its beauty and its power and its complexities. Someone might consider oneself a giver. In one extreme, a giver might feel resentment or frustration that one gives a lot more than one gets, that the rest of the world are a bunch of takers. And the other extreme of that giver mentality is that a person who sees himself as a giver is proud, if not a little puffed up by being a giver, and good also maybe at being closed off to receiving. A giver-only perspective is sometimes a distraction from a discomfort or from a false belief in unworthiness around one's wants, needs, and desires. And the two extremes illustrate degrees to which I, at some point or another, in some area of my life or another, have felt out of balance. I have felt that I give more than I get, or I'm a little puffed up that I appear to get less than I give. The accounting for giving and getting occurs really in the realm of effect. The cause is some, let's say, faulty thinking. It's a function of patterns and habits and beliefs in lack, limitation, and scarcity. And this surface layer mentality omits the one infinite source, the one infinite supply, which is living spirit. Fortunately, the science of mind and spirit has the principles and practices that help. The metaphysical fact is that if you take an honest accounting of what you have, of what you have received, that for which you are genuinely grateful, it far surpasses what you have given. Metaphysically, you have to give to get is an open circuit. It's a disconnect. An electrical wall outlet does not give anything with nothing connected. Once the circuit is complete, when there is a connection, then the forces that comprise electricity are put into action, and there's a transfer of power from source to the connected device. As you align and connect with living spirit within you and surrounding you, it is natural that you circulate more of the good of God. And that brings up another gem that I hear from time to time. You can't outgive God. And you may have come across this notion that God is all giving, and that is kind of not complete. Just like the electrical wall outlet, there must first be a connection into which living spirit can give. And if I'm not feeling that good of God, it's usually because I have switched off or I have unplugged. Living spirit is always plugged into you, and it's plugged into me and all of manifest creation. And living spirit is not so much giving as it is always circulating love, peace, joy, and compassion. You have to give to get is a little conditional. It's a little transactional. You can't get anything until you give. It's a conditioned condition. And there is the possibility that the person, place, or thing to which you give might be unplugged or might be turned off. And therefore, you may not get anything that you are imagining that you are giving. And give and get is a kind of training wheels mentality, though. It has a purpose. It has a use. And you can, as I have, utilized the conditional, the transactional, the binary, like give to get, can use that mentality like training wheels on a bicycle that heal and grow consciousness. So you see the young person on the bicycle with training wheels, and they tip from one side to the other as they ride along. They tip from giving to getting. And there are moments in between the tipping to one side or the other when there is a balance. And in that moment or two, the riding is comparatively easy and effortless. It flows. And then finally, the rider balances all the time. And the training wheels become unnecessary. The ride is now free-flowing. Metaphysically, once you find that balance, you find yourself in a divine flow, what we call the quality of affluence, and you feel generosity. You feel an easy and effortless, abundant circulation of all God's good. As you learn these metaphysical principles and put them into practice, you manifest and demonstrate as those positive thoughts and feelings and intuitions. And the more consistent your practice, positive thoughts, feelings, and intuitions appear to be almost automatic, spontaneous, if you will. Because in that mode, you live more love, peace, joy, and compassion. The abundance principle evokes and amplifies, it intensifies this quality of generosity. Likening it again to that electrical wall outlet, living spirit is always plugged into you, and your spiritual practices both connect you to living spirit and turn on your consciousness device. Generosity is this positive inward sensation, a positive feeling, which in the science of mind and spirit, those positive inward feelings are synonymous with a quality of God. Positive feelings are living spirit alive in you. Positive feelings are your direct experience of God. The first and primary answer to any prayer is this positive inward sensation, this positive inward feeling or God quality. A cornerstone law in the science of mind and spirit is the law of cause and effect. Often we pair this experience and expression together, but an inward experience is causal. The expression is the effect. What you experience inwardly, you may choose to express outwardly. You may choose to express generosity by or through what appears to be giving of your time, your talent, your treasure, your undivided attention. And when you know, intuit, feel generosity, and then act or express generosity, you are circulating living spirit, doing so often on this earthly plane. As you feel generous, you are living spirit. As you act with generosity, living spirit more generously lives you. It blesses your life with more love, peace, joy, and compassion. And it exceeds, that goodness exceeds your greatest imagination. The feeling, the God quality of generosity is similar to feelings of plenty, of prosperity, and especially affluence. And by affluence, again, I mean being in a divine flow, that the good of God is flowing fully and freely in this moment and into the next. As you circulate your good, like generosity, out in the world, you strengthen and deepen your connection to living spirit. You feel a balance. You feel this powerful exchange, and you unleash a kind of a mutuality, a feeling that what benefits others benefits me, and what benefits me benefits others. Generosity operates as a principle too. You're only as genuinely generous with others as you can be generous with yourself. Healing and growing your consciousness around generosity means you are more generous with yourself, and in turn, you are more generous with others. I often refer to this A Course in Miracles maxim that says the only thing lacking in any moment is what I'm withholding. I like to use the constructive positive opposite. And in the science of mind and spirit, it's important because living spirit is always responsive to my thoughts, my feelings, my intuitions. So my constructive positive opposite of that Course in Miracles maxim is each moment is infused with the good I pour into it. My work is filled with the good I pour into it. My relationships unfold according to the good I pour into them. My finances flow with the good I pour into them. I experience the good of this moment according to the good with which I am expressing. The good in your life happens according to your consciousness and according to your most prevalent thoughts, feelings, and intuitions. Your life gets better as you heal and grow your consciousness. Your life gets better as you heal and grow your consciousness. Living spirit is ongoing whether or not you are consciously aware of it, whether or not you are plugged in and powered up. The larger life is living you, and healing and growing your consciousness means you live more of living spirit that is already living you. You heal and grow your consciousness then through spiritual practices. And as I often compare our spiritual practices, it's like a metaphysical science experiment we are performing on ourselves, and I am performing on myself, and you are performing on yourself. When science learns more about a dynamic process, it often takes samples. And samples are little snapshots, little snippets, and they are observed and analyzed. Scientists then sequence that data that they extracted from the samples, and they look at the trends and the tendencies and the patterns. Spiritual practices are similar to scientists taking samples of a dynamic process. With your intention to heal and grow your consciousness, anytime you meditate, affirm, journal, study vision, you are taking snapshots of your consciousness. You are devoting time and attention to the components of a spiritual dynamic flow of good in your life. And that is known as living spirit or a universal love or the infinite creative or the great spirit or one mind or the all in the all. The divine life keeps living, the good keeps flowing, and your spiritual practices, piece by piece, bit by bit, sample by sample, is some of that goodness, that godness that is in your conscious awareness. As you sequence the samples, you are joining more in a divine flow. And that divine flow, that affluence, and one of the feelings of that divine flow, synonymous with qualities of God, is generosity. The intention for your metaphysical science project this week is to be more in that divine flow, to be more affluent, to increase your generosity. Begin by taking regular samples of your life, at least once a day. Hopefully that expands to many times a day. Notice giving and receiving. It could be at the store or at your job or in a relationship or at your spiritual learning center. As you notice the activity of giving and receiving, notice your thoughts, your feelings, your intuitions. Notice from your inner experience how you are choosing to express those thoughts, feelings, and intuitions. And be aware there may be unconscious habits, patterns, and beliefs that are holding sway over the moment. And in those instances, you might need a few moments or hours or days to bring to conscious awareness any of that less than conscious stuff that needs to be reviewed or revised or replaced. The universe creates anything you pour into it. If you give or receive with resentment, the universe responds with more resentment. If you give and receive with generosity, the universe responds with more generosity. As you create and expand a self-noticing practice that is intended to increase affluence and increase generosity, It's natural that you might journal, that you might affirm or affirmatively pray, or study someone else who's walked that path, or vision around anything that contributes to your affluence and more generosity in your life. So as you give and receive with more ease, grace, and gratitude, as giving and receiving evoke strong positive feelings, as you are plugged into a divine circuit, as you feel in a divine flow or affluence, you expand the conduit through which the infinite good of God flows, and that feeling is generosity. I know and trust you are loving, lovable, and loved. Enjoy this day. Until next time, farewell. Thanks for tuning in to the Vida Spiritual Connection. Please use the links in the description to request prayer, to donate to Vida Spiritual Learning Center, and to join the Vida mail list. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And for more information, visit our website at vidaslc.org.